Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ Live here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRift NoDQ. Noah Foster just sent in a $2 super chat donation. He simply stated, because he is the simple man, support NoDQ because NoDQ is great. He didn't say that last part, I did. Make sure you guys spread the word about this video. If you enjoyed the video, please share a link with a friend. Trying to hit 60,000 subscribers by WrestleMania, but I cannot do it without the help of everyone out there. So please spread the word. Here we go. Monday Night Raw, the go-home edition of Raw, the final Raw before Elimination Chamber, which is this coming Sunday, live on the WWE Network. We had Triple H and Stephanie open the show. Of course. We're the authority, yet we're stuck seeing these guys on television every week. What's up with that? So we had a recap of the Becky Lynch angle, and is it just me, or was it a lot better back in the day when we'd have the video package to open the show, then we would have an actual intro, and then we would have the pyro and all the announcements, and then we'd have somebody come out. Instead, we have somebody come out, they talk for a little bit, and then they show the long video package, and then they go back to talking again. As far as I'm concerned, I like it the old way, but that's just me. So, Stephanie said that Becky Lynch did in fact see her doctors, and Stephanie was about to introduce Becky when Becky's music just hit and she came out because she's a rebel. Becky came out and said that Stephanie was looking good and she'll just have to hit her harder next time. Triple H then talked about the doctor's report. According to the doctors, there's no tear or structural damage. So Becky's good to go, or she will be good to go in time for WrestleMania, just after a few weeks of rehab, according to Triple H. Therefore, Triple H lifted the suspension and said that the WrestleMania match is still on. Now, Becky said she did what she asked. Nelson, with a $2 super chat donation, says, LOL at Stephanie's botch, WWE Elimination Chamber view. Oh, I must have missed that one. She did botch a line at the beginning of her promo, but I forgot what it was already. But anyways, there was a catch here. Becky would get her WrestleMania match. However, she would need to apologize. Oh, Caitlin says that was the line. Okay, I thought there was another one, but maybe I'm just thinking of something else. I don't know. So, Tony H with a $2 super chat donation. This is silly. Vince out of touch is back. That's for the end. I'll talk about Vince here in just a few minutes. So Triple H and Stephanie said that Becky needs to apologize. Since they apologized to her, Becky needs to apologize as well for slapping Triple H and hitting Stephanie. Becky was basically like, no. Becky told Stephanie to shut her face, said she doesn't trust them, and the McMahons have been screwing people for years, blah, blah, blah. She then said, in regards to apologizing, would she apologize? Hell no. Just like Stone Cold Steve Austin, she's not going to apologize. Now, I feel like there's no good reason for Becky to be so salty. I think that the McMahons have been reasonable for the most part. Triple H and Stephanie have been reasonable. This attitude that Becky has towards them and the storyline, to me, really doesn't make much sense. And then on top of that, you have Triple H acting like a heel, which just confuses me even more. I think the idea is that Stephanie and Triple H are the heels and Becky's supposed to come off like the babyface, but I thought 2 months ago, Triple H, Stephanie, Vince, they're all baby faces and the fans are the authority. I'm just so confused by the whole thing. It's not clicking for me like I feel it should. I feel like the writing is really hurting this overall storyline. But anyways, Stephanie got in Becky's face and Triple H had to break them up and calm them down. Triple H said that she can fight now or she can fight at WrestleMania. The choice is hers. She needs to apologize, and she has until the end of the night. Will she do the right thing and apologize, go to WrestleMania, or will she throw it all away? And why would Triple H jeopardize this match because he's not given an apology? I mean, if Becky Lynch is this big star, you want this match for WrestleMania, so why would you just cancel it because Becky doesn't want to apologize? The whole thing to me just doesn't really make a lot of sense, and I wasn't that into it, to be perfectly honest with you guys. We'll talk more about Becky as the review goes on here, so stay tuned. I got more to say. We had our first match of the evening. We had Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax and Tamina versus Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan in a tag team triple threat match. The 3 Raw teams that will be in the Elimination Chamber match on Sunday to crown the first women's tag team champions. More Faves says it was convoluted, written for 5-year-olds. I mean, if this was written better, this would be a hot storyline, and Becky is obviously the hottest character in WWE, but the writing, I feel, is so lackluster that I fear that this storyline is going to flatten out. Now, maybe there's gonna be some hope at the end of the tunnel, but stay tuned. I'll talk more about that here in a few minutes. So, anyways, back to the match. We had Sasha get attacked by Ruby Riott on the outside. Ruby launched Sasha into the barricade and then hit her with a knee strike. So Sasha Banks is still injured, but WWE is basically hoping that she will be cleared for the pay-per-view, and that's why last week Sasha did nothing, and this week Sasha basically just took a bump into the barricade and a knee strike. She's still not 100%, so this was WWE's way of working around it. Now, Bayley almost got the job done for her team. However, it was not enough. Nia Jax finished off Bayley with the Samoan drop, and because of this, the stipulation for this match was that the losing team will have to start the Elimination Chamber match, which I'm not really a fan of either, because just like the Royal Rumble, you're curious as to who's going to be number 1 or number 30. And in this case, you're curious which team's going to start off the match and have the disadvantage. But now that you know, then, you know, that element of surprise is gone. So I'm not really sure I'm a fan of this, but I guess if Bayley and Sasha are winning, it makes sense for them to start the match, but just have them start the match. You don't need to do this stipulation. I don't think it makes the match any more intriguing by announcing it in advance. Just how I see it. So then we had a really bizarre segment. We had Elias in the ring. He said, "Hello, I am Elias." And then it just cut to a backstage segment with Finn Balor and Becky Lynch having a conversation. Balor was trying to talk some sense into Becky, saying to not let pride get the better of her. Then we went back to Elias. Again, he said, "Hello, I am Elias. Ladies and gentlemen, Elias," from the announcer. But before he could say anything, he was cut off again. This time by a Seth Rollins video package, which showcased the gauntlet match from last year, WrestleMania, all that good stuff. Rollins' road to WrestleMania, basically. Then we had Elias finally get going with his introduction, but then he was cut off again. This time by everyone's favorite tag team, the Lucha House Party. Kalisto said that they wanted to walk with Elias, and then they were standing there while Elias sang this song insulting the city of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And according to Caitlin, Saginaw was spared the insults by Elias at the Sunday night live event. So there you go. I guess Elias likes certain parts of Michigan more than others. Maybe he likes the eastern half. I don't know. So Elias sang the song, just bashing Grand Rapids, and then Elias wanted to know what the Lucha guys thought. They gave it a thumbs down. Kalisto then started playing on the guitar. Crowd was getting into it. And then we had Elias hit Kalisto with the guitar. So Elias is feuding with the Lucha House Party now. Okay. All right. Whatever. We had a couple of Elimination Chamber promos from Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville from SmackDown, as well as the Iconics from SmackDown. Just basic stuff saying that they're going to win the match, blah, blah, blah. It means so much to be the first women's tag team champions. The stuff you would expect from these promos. So next up we had the Fonz, Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley, a.k.a. Bob the Lash, was at ringside. Lashley grabbed Finn's foot, and that wasn't the first time he would interfere in the match. Balor was actually on the verge of beating Drew with the coup de grace when Lashley shoved Balor off the top rope, causing a disqualification. Then we had a beatdown. Lashley and McIntyre were beating up the Fonz, and that's when we had Kurt Angle make the save. Angle hit some Germans, but then he was attacked by everyone's favorite TJI Fridays host, Baron Corbin. And then we had the save from Braun Strowman. Holla, holla, holla! You know what this means, players. This means during a commercial break, a 6-man tag team match was made, and there you go. You had these 6 guys in a very long, drawn-out match. I figured something was up when the Balor-McIntyre match only lasted 1 segment, because that never happens. You know, when you got those guys in a match on Raw, that's going at least 2 segments, if not longer. So when that whole DQ went down, I'm like, okay, we're going to have some people come out. We're going to have a tag team match, blah, blah, blah. Usual stuff. Just a very long match. And Strowman was out of it for part of the time. He got hit with 2 claymores and was knocked outside of the barricade by the fans. Strowman eventually made the hot tag. Oh, I forgot to mention, before I get to that, let me back up here for a second. A really awkward moment on the show. So Bobby Lashley went for a pin on Finn Balor. And then Balor put his foot on the rope, but the referee did not see it and counted 3 anyways. The problem with this is that, at least from the camera angle, it was clear that the referee could see Balor's foot on the rope, but just counted anyways. Yeah, the way this was done did not play out very nicely, as far as I'm concerned. We had another referee come out, restart the match, and then that's when Strowman made the hot tag, and he bum rushed everybody, did his whole routine, big comeback. He hit the power slam to Lashley, and then Balor hit the coup de grace to pin the IC champion, leading into Sunday's pay-per-view. Next up, we had a Kevin Owens video package. That's right, or not a video package, but a selfie video promo from Owens at a bowling alley. Owens looked to be in great shape, by the way. I mean, he's definitely losing some weight. He said that he's been spending time with his family. It's been rough to watch Raw lately, not because the show sucks most of the time, but because he misses doing what he does best, and it's hard to watch other people doing it. He then said he's got about a month to go, so maybe we'll see him before WrestleMania. I mean, there's been reports that him and Sami Zayn are not going to be brought back until after WrestleMania, but maybe we will see Owens sooner than later. Moving on here, we had Ruby Riott versus Nikki Cross. So apparently Nikki's back to being a babyface this week. I guess maybe she's trying to be the new Big Show or try to be the new Nia Jax and have the most heel and face turns in the shortest period of time. This match was so important, by the way, that WWE had to cut to a backstage segment with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. Becky was saying, you know, you can make history, but you need to stop pushing your ego. And Becky said, or Ronda said it's time for the man to man up, and then she walked out and said, if you don't apologize, you're basically telling the world you're a coward. Ruby, back to the match. Ruby did pick up the victory since she is facing Ronda Rousey this Sunday on the pay-per-view with the Riot Kick. Demon of Death 19 says she was never a heel. I thought she was on the heel team last week. I could have sworn that she was, but maybe I'm mistaken in that. What did Lucha Libre say that was offensive? Hold on, Jeff just deleted something. Oh, he said Nikki is ugly. Jeff Meacham did not appreciate that comment very much. No bullying in the chat room, even if they're wrestlers. You know, we're all human beings. You know, we're all beautiful in some way. All right, so Seth Rollins came out for his big promo. He mentioned the video package that was shown earlier. He said there's good news and bad news. The bad news is that he took six F5s. The good news is that he's still standing. He had to take a few weeks off. He teased that this could be his last match at WrestleMania. And that's when Paul Heyman came out. Paul Heyman said that he's out there to educate Seth Rollins and said that Rollins is going to be the architect of his own demise. Rollins responded by saying, Heyman's right, but he doesn't care. He will burn in hell. This is what Rollins said. He said he will burn in hell if it means that Brock does not leave WrestleMania as champion. And then he said that's not a spoiler, or that's not a prediction, that's a spoiler. Then, to top it off, we had Ambrose come out, and there was this stare down between the two of them, and then Ambrose just said, I have one thing to say, slay the beast. And then Ambrose went outside and just sat in the ring announcer chair to wait for his opponent. Tony H with a $2 super chat donation says, Rollins versus Brock should be no holds barred. I agree with that, Tony H. I think for the main event of WrestleMania, let it be a barn burner. Let them go out there and have the most crazy-ass match possible. Weapons, just let it be like that John Cena-Brock Lesnar match, only even more intense. I mean, that's what the WrestleMania main event should be, as far as I'm concerned. All right, so moving on here. Dean Ambrose faced EC3 in a rematch from last weekend. I'm a little surprised, but not that surprised. I mean, to me, it's just like, really 50-50 booking. I know Ambrose should be pushed stronger if he's sticking around. He might be leaving. I just don't know what's going on here. I don't know how this benefited anybody because Ambrose just got his win back. EC3 lost after winning last week, and both times they were fluke victories. I mean, just feels like a waste of time to me. I feel like nobody's getting over. Josh Clayton with a $2 super chat says, what's going on with Ambrose? Makes no sense. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. So, let's move on here. If I can even get to the next sheet of paper, that would be good. So backstage, we had Alexa Bliss with Becky Lynch, and Alexa told Becky to not say sorry, and Becky was wondering, what's up with that? Becky said that she thinks Alexa just wants her spot at WrestleMania, and that's why Alexa is saying to not say sorry. Alexa was like, no, that's not the case, and Alexa said that Becky should just be true to herself. And then Alexa started getting upset and said that Becky is a sellout if she goes out there and apologizes, to which Becky said if she apologizes, the only thing she'll be selling out is WrestleMania. So there you go. Then we had, for the tag team titles, we had Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus The Revival. The really unfortunate thing about this match was that the crowd was dead. I mean, the crowd was dead for a lot of this show. They were dead for this match until the end. I mean, these guys worked really hard. They had a great match for television. And I've heard they've had really great house show matches as well. Caitlyn said their match was great at the Saginaw house show. They were doing all the near falls. They were working really hard, and the crowd did wake up. By the end, they were chanting, "This is awesome," and they were into it at the end. So hats off to these guys for getting the crowd into it at the end. And guess what? Revival with the Shatter Machine are the new tag team champions. Finally, the Revival win the titles. Is it too little too late? I guess only time will tell. I mean, quite frankly, nobody cares about the titles, but perhaps if the Revival are given the chance, maybe the tag team division can be rebounded. Now, see, if you do the Superstar shakeup, you can bring the Usos over. Revival versus Usos. Maybe even Sheamus and Cesaro back to Raw and do Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Revival. Get some teams from SmackDown over to Raw to face the Revival, and maybe you can rebound this tag team division, perhaps. So yeah, this was probably, well, I would say this was, along with the main event segment, this was the most interesting thing on the show. I mean, up until this point, I was quite bored with everything that was going on during Raw. I mean, I was very easily distracted, but this was interesting. Revival finally won the titles. They pulled off a great match, so hats off to them. Don't know if this means they're staying or not, but clearly WWE is finally giving them an opportunity. The question is, again, is it too late? So then we had the main event segment. We had Stephanie and Triple H and Becky Lynch out there. Triple H said, all you have to do is say the two little words or you're going to throw it all away. The crowd started chanting for Becky, and then here's where things get weird again. Triple H said to shut them out, and then said, and this is what Triple H said, that the fans, their opinions don't matter. Okay, time out. 2 months ago, Triple H, Vince, Stephanie, Shane, they were all out there stating that they're going to start listening to the fans. But now we're back to Triple H saying that the fans' opinions don't matter. Okay. Yeah, all right. I thought we were the authority. I'm so confused. As Virtue says, it was a work, bro. We know it was a work. I mean, we all know it was a smokescreen, and it was just WWE trying to apply a quick fix to the ratings falling. I mean, duh. No shit. We knew that. But still, I mean, it's just, again, it's insulting the fans' intelligence. You tell them that their opinions do matter, and then you go back to saying they don't, literally 2 months later. All right. I mean, Triple H, WWE stock is at $80 a share. I mean, who am I to judge? These guys know what they're doing better than I do. So anyways, Becky finally gave in and apologized. She did what Steve Austin would never do. So I guess that ends the Steve Austin comparison. She did apologize. She said, I'm sorry. Triple H was satisfied with that and said, congrats, you're going to WrestleMania. He offered his hand. She shook his hand. And Triple H and Stephanie were leaving. And that's when Ronda Rousey came out to confront Becky Lynch. Then we had Vince's music for literally like 2 seconds, like some kind of production botch. Vince came out, the music hit for like 2 seconds, and then it stopped. Literally, it was like 2 seconds. Vince said that Becky was having a bad attitude, and he doesn't like bad attitudes, and he feels that Becky thinks that she's bigger than WWE. So here we go back to the Austin McMahon thing. I figured this was going to happen. I even said it last week. I said, you know, would not shock me if Vince is the next guy to get in Becky's face and create this conflict between the two of them and escalate things even further, which is what Vince did. He said that he's the man, not Becky, and therefore he doesn't accept the apology, And Becky is now suspended for 60 days. And that 60-day suspension ends after WrestleMania, which means that Becky is out of the match at WrestleMania. And then Vince proceeded to introduce Becky's replacement. And that replacement is Charlotte Flair. So there you go. Looks like we're getting the triple threat match at WrestleMania. For those of you panicking, this is what you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to be angry. You're supposed to be, Becky needs to be in this match, and how dare Vince for doing this. So this is all part of the plan. Becky's going to be in WrestleMania, guys. Don't panic. Tony H with a $2 super chat says, so Triple H is going to find a way to get Becky in? I guess. I mean, I see, right now, the Fastlane pay-per-view is being advertised as Charlotte versus Becky. And let me finish that segment here let me finish that thought here in a second. Power Packers 90 with a $10 super chat. He says, this is why I'm going to All Elite Wrestling in Vegas. Charlotte is not needed, and yet she just gets put in because of Daddy. Becky is getting back in, but Flair's not needed for the first ever WWE Women's Division. Or she's not needed for every first in the Women's Division. Hashtag save us All Elite Wrestling, or save us AEW. So that is from Power Packers. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's possible that there'll be the storyline where Triple H has Becky and Vince has Charlotte, and then at Fastlane they do the match, and maybe Becky just wins that, and it is Becky versus Ronda at WrestleMania. You know, Becky has to fight Charlotte to get that match at WrestleMania now, and that's what will happen at Fastlane, because that's the match that's being advertised right now. So I assume that's the next step, that either Becky will get the shot one-on-one, or she beats Charlotte to be added to it in a triple threat. But I think, like most of you, I feel like the match is better off being one-on-one. I get the triple threat, but at the same time, I feel like the match would be stronger if it was one-on-one. So that was Raw. Overall, I thought it was a pretty boring show. I mean, the tag team title change was good. The main event, the final segment, Vince coming out, interesting. I mean, I wasn't bored with it. I am curious to see where this goes now. A nice little swerve at the end with Vince doing the 60-day suspension. That was fine. But other than those two segments, I thought this was a pretty flat show. So I'm going to go with a D+. I mean, if it wasn't for the tag title change, probably a D. But I will give it a D+, thanks to the tag team title change. The first 2 hours of Raw, I mean, pretty much an hour into Raw, I was just very distracted. I could not even focus on the show. It was just so flat to me. Ryan gives the tag match an A-. Caitlyn gives it a C-. Ma Wrestling with a D-. Kev Dog with a D. CC Drink with a C-. Elijah with a C-. Samir with a D. Offman Rules with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Offman. He says, Revival winning clearly had nothing to do with the AEW effect. ... Right? Well, if Revival did ask for their releases, I mean, that could have played a role in this match, in this title change, no doubt. I mean, it was scripted a while back that the Revival have not been getting their just dues in WWE. I mean, it's been pretty obvious for a while, and then we had that stuff with the Lucha House Party. So, I mean, it's no secret. People think really highly of the Revival and feel like they should have been given the titles a while back. Nelson Moreno with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Nelson. He says, what are the chances that Steve Austin does a surprise cameo with both of them causing backstage mayhem because of Vince stripping Becky off of Mania? Unlikely. I don't think we're going to see Steve Austin, and I don't even think it's a good idea, because you don't want fans seeing Becky as a second-rate Steve Austin, a female Steve Austin. I don't think WWE wants you to think of Becky as a imitation of what Steve Austin's doing. So I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't really see the point in it. And Virtue's like, get off this Steve Austin thing already. And Virtue's like, there you go, Aaron. And Noah's like, I agree. Jorge says, Stone Cold, Becky, and CM Punk versus the McMahon family. I mean, it's pretty much just, the same storyline repeated over and over again. For me personally, I'm just tired of seeing the McMahons. I would like something changed up and, something new and fresh. It's just, to me, it's so played out. Especially when 1 minute the McMahons are faces, next minute they're heels. The Relaxing Noob with a $5 super chat. He says, shout, shag, marry, what? What the heck here? Shout, shag, marry, Vince quads, Triple H quads, or Kevin Nash quads. What? That is the most bizarre comment I've ever seen here on NoDQ Live. I don't even know what to say to this. Is this like a MFK variation? Marry Vince's quads because that was just hilarious. Shout Triple H's quads because yeah, okay, fine. Shout Triple H's quads and marry Kevin Nash's quads. I don't understand that question. That is the weirdest question I've ever seen here. All right, so I think on that note, I'm going to sign off here for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching NoDQ Live. I really do appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow night to discuss SmackDown Live, and then we should have the review. Well, no, actually no NoDQ review this week. Instead, we will be doing our predictions video for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view coming up. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. Very busy news day. A lot of things happening. All Elite Wrestling. Maybe I'll talk more about AEW tomorrow. People are wondering what's going on with the Hall of Fame. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for any details regarding the Hall of Fame. All that's known at this point is that the Hart Foundation are allegedly going in, but there's been no announcement about the Hall of Fame. Not even tickets being put on sale. Nothing. So what's the deal? Your guess is as good as mine. And Samir says, support NoDQ. I agree on that. Please share a link to this video. Tell a friend. Let's try to hit 60,000 subscribers by WrestleMania. I need you guys to do it, though. So please go out there on Twitter, Facebook. Spread the word about NoDQ and NoDQ Live, NoDQ Video. Everything you can. Just word of mouth goes a long way. Let's get to 60,000 by WrestleMania. And Offman rules. He is on a NoDQ shirt. So buy a shirt, NoDQ.com/shirts.